Hello and welcome back to another edition of Raw out of 10 on the Wrestling Debate. Well, where there is a major return that happened. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. The show opened with Drew McIntyre wanting to find out what the stipulation for Extreme Rules would be. Ziggler refused, saying he wouldn't reveal it until Extreme Rules, and then introduced Heath Slater as proof that Drew McIntyre had left friends to get to the very top. Heath Slater cut a brilliant promo, and then we moved into a match after the commercial break where Drew McIntyre just squashed Heath Slater with a Claymore inside a matter of minutes, and then afterwards McIntyre and Slater moved up. Yeah, this was shocking, this promo, but it was really good, and it was just a shock, and we don't get that very often on Raw these days, so I'm going to give it a 6.75 out of 10. Next up, we got Kairi Sane v Sasha Banks, so Kairi Sane may not be leaving. The match came after Asuka interrupted a Banks and Bayley promo and said that Banks would accept anything Asuka threw at her. So she threw Sasha Banks v Kairi Sane at her. And then they had this great match, of course, because they're all great. Finish came when Kairi Sane had Banks in a Boston Crab, and Bayley broke it up because it looked like Sane was about to win. The two teams brawled, ending with Sane being driven onto Banks and Bayley with an elbow drop from the top rope. I'm going to give this a 6.75 out of 10 as well. A great match, and it got even better with Asuka v Bayley later. We then got an edition of the KO show where Kevin Owens, Mysterio, Rollins, Murphy, Dominic, and all that argued, and then it got set up into a tag match. KO and Mysterio v Rollins and Murphy. Black couldn't compete because he was injured, and then the winner got to choose a stipulation for Extreme Rules. Mysterio and Owens got the win, following multiple distractions from Dominic after Seth Rollins threatened to beat him up. This distracted Murphy, allowed Mysterio to hit the 619 and a frog splash for the victory. Mysterio challenged Rollins to an eye for eye match, saying he would pull Rollins' eye out. Pleasant. Overall, I'm going to give this a 6.5 out of 10. A pretty decent match, and I'm not a huge fan of this story, but I think it built quite nicely. We then got Lashley and MVP defeating Alexander and Ricochet via pinfall. Before the match, MVP and Lashley cut a promo in the ring saying that Cruz disrespecting MVP was a bad career move. Then they revealed a new US title, and it's on MVP because he beat Apollo Crews last week for some reason. Right, then they had a match, pretty quick actually. Ricochet and Alexander gave it a go at fighting Lashley, but Lashley was too much at him, and he drilled Alexander with a spear to score the pinfall. After the match, Lashley posed with MVP, holding the new US title. Lashley then locked Alexander in a full Nelson, but Ricochet made the save. I didn't really like this, if I'm honest. It just didn't make sense, really, so I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. There was then a 6-man tag between Big Show, Viking Raiders, Orton, and a gang of losers, Andrade and Garza. Big Show and Raiders dominated the early part of the match, and Orton grew frustrated with Garza and Andrade's arguing. He slammed Garza into the plexiglass and told him off. It looked terrifying, to be fair. Eventually, Andrade and Garza avoided the Viking experience before an Orton blind tag allowed him to hit Eric with the RKO for the win. Big Show stood in the ring after the match, staring Orton down. I'm going to give this a 6.5 out of 10. Good tag team match. Not really sure if the two feuds fitted in, but there we are, but it was still alright. Backstage, Orton and Flair were celebrating their victory when R-Truth came up, and he told the ninjas that Truth was going that way, and then we never saw them again. Right, it was alright. And then we got Billy Kay v Peyton Royce for some reason. After losing to Peyton Royce this week, Wright tried her luck against Kay after another argument backstage. Royce's outside distraction allowed Kay to hit a modified powerbomb for the win in the short match. 5.75 out of 10. What was the point? And finally, our main event. What a match this was. Asuka v Bayley. Nikki Cross came out before the match and she was on commentary for a little while before she got taken out by security after Banks and Bayley wound her up. She then appeared behind a plexiglass later on in the match. But this was a quality match, loads of back and forth, same was there and everything like that. But the finish came when Bayley tried to counter the submission, allowing Asuka to score a tight pin to secure the victory in chaos. And this was a brilliant match, so I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. And it definitely built towards Asuka v Bayley, and Bayley losing, it just enhances that Bayley Banks storyline. Overall, Raw this week gets a 6.5 out of 10. I thought it was a very good show this week. Or not very good, but a lot better than what we've seen recently. There were a number of brilliant matches, like Asuka v Bayley, and I enjoyed the McIntyre Slater things, just to show there were some stupid, pointless segments. The Billy Kay v Ruby Riott, or Payson Royce, I think it was Billy Kay, one comes to mind. But except for that, it's a pretty decent show, and some other things. But anyway, guys, that is it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Let me know what you thought about Raw in the comments below. Follow us on Twitter for daily wrestling news. Subscribe to my other channels on screen right now. That'd be greatly appreciated. Thank you very much for watching. Peace.